So now this video discusses about what we call as the triangles. We'll be looking at the definition of the triangle as well as the classification of the triangles and their actual properties. So let's go ahead. So what is a triangle? Now if we say a triangle, that is a triangle, it is an object with 3 sides and 3 internal angles. That is what we call as the triangle. In some books they call it as any 3-sided figure. That is the triangle. So this is how the triangle looks like. So this is how a typical triangle looks like. It has 3 sides. Let's say this is a side 1, side 2, a side 3, and with 3 internal angles. These are the angles. So that's what we get as the triangle. So it is any 3-sided figure. That is what we get as the triangle. And it is part of the examples of the polygon. If we say a polygon, it is any sided figure. So a polygon with the 3 sides, it is said to be the triangle. So tri means 3. So triangles, it means having 3 angles. So that is. So let's classify triangles in terms of the sides. Should we say by sides? Should be by side. So the triangles can be classified in terms of the sides, and that is that. So we have what we call as the equilateral triangle. We have what we call as the equilateral triangle. That is equilateral triangle. So what do you think is equilateral triangle all about? So equilateral triangle. So equilateral triangle, it is the triangle in which all sides are equal. So this is how it looks like. So it is the triangle in which all sides are equal. That is how the equilateral triangle looks like. It is the triangle in which all sides are equal. That is the equilateral triangle. Let's say this can be given as the triangle A, B, C, like that. So in this case, since all these sides are the same, then you can say this side and this side and this side are the same. So that's what we call as the equilateral triangle. And also on the same case, equilateral triangle, since all sides are equal, then the internal angles are also said to be the equal as well. And basically they are 60 degrees. So this is 60-degree angle, this is 60-degree angle, this is also 60-degree angle as well. So internal angles are said to be the same for the equilateral triangle. And also the sides are said to be the same. Let's say if this is 5, then this is 5, and also this is 5. If this is 10, this is 10, also this is 10. So that's about the equilateral triangle. And apart from the equilateral triangle, we also have what we call as the isosceles triangle. We call it as isosceles. Should be isosceles triangle. So what do you think is an isosceles triangle? So isosceles triangle, it is the triangle that has 2 similar sides. So that is what we call as an isosceles triangle. It is the triangle that has 2 similar sides. That is what we call as an isosceles triangle. So it can look like this. It can look like this. So much as 2 sides are the same, that is what we call as isosceles triangle. So in that case, since 2 sides are the same, then let's say this side is the same as this side, like that. So in this kind of a demarcation, it means these actually 2 sides are the same, and unlike this. So in that way, let's say this is triangle ABC. So in this case, this is what we get as an isosceles triangle. And since the 2 sides are the same, then the base angles formed by those 2 sides are said to be the same. So in this case, this angle, it is the same as this angle. So take note of that. So in this case, it means the angle BAC, it is the same as the angle BCA. Thus, the base angles of isosceles triangle are the same. And apart from the isosceles triangle, we also have another triangle, which is a scarring triangle. So what is a scarring triangle? So what do you think is that? So scarring triangle. So on the scarring triangle, it is the triangle with no similar sides. In other words, it is the triangle in which all its three sides are not the same. So a scarring triangle can look like this. You can have something. So it is the triangle in which all its angles, I should say, it is the triangle in which all its sides are not the same. So in this case, let's say this is the triangle A, B, C. So in this case, let's say this is side, and like this. So in this case, it means this side is not the same as this, not the same as this. Otherwise, the sides are dissimilar. And if that is the case, then even the internal angles are also not the same as well. Even the internal angles are not the same. That is for scarring triangle. And let's classify triangles in terms of the angles, basically in terms of the angles. So we have what we call as an acute angle. So let's classify the triangles in terms of the angles. So that is a biangle. So we have what we call as an acute triangle. So acute triangle. So what do you think is an acute triangle? So as the name itself suggests, acute angle, it is the angle which is less than 90 degrees. So in this case, for the acute triangle, it is the triangle in which none of its internal angles is 90 degrees. That is what we call as an acute. Actually, that is what we call as an acute triangle. So it is the triangle whose none of its internal angles is 90 degrees. That is what we call as an acute triangle. So we can have, let's say, all its internal angles, none of them is 90 degrees. We can have, let's say, 60 degrees. We can have, let's say, 30 degrees. And that should be about, let me just have to give it as, let's say we can have 20 degrees. We can have that, let's say 20 degrees. We can have as well, let's say we can have, by the way, we can have, let's say, 80 degrees. We can have, let's say, another 80 degrees, and up to 180 degrees. That is 80 plus 80. That is it should be 80 plus 80. 80 plus 80. That is 160, and we can have 20 degrees. So by the way, the sum of angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So try to come up with the list of the angles that when you sum up will give you 180 degrees, but all those angles should be, none of them should be equal to 90 degrees or above 90 degrees. So try to have that one. And let's say you can have, let's say, 70 degrees. We can have, let's say, 50 degrees. What is that? 70 plus 50. So that is 120 degrees. If we sum those, that is 120 degrees. And how should you have to reach at 180? So 180 minus 120 degrees. So that is about 60 degrees. So this is also, a pair. This is also the list of the should be the triangles that actually, this is also the list of the angles that satisfies the acute triangle. So try to come up with the angles that satisfies the acute angles, and also draw the angles as actually, and also so try to come up with the actually angles that satisfies the acute triangle, and also try to come up with the triangle itself as well. You should have to know how to draw the triangle by this far. And we also have the another type, which is given as the light angle. We also have the another type, which is given as the it should be light triangle, light angled triangle, light angled triangle. So what is the light angled triangle? It is the triangle in which one of its internal angles is 90 degrees. That is what we call as the light angled triangle. So it is the triangle that looks like this. Let's say in this case, this is the angle of 90 degrees. We can have, let's say, A, B, C. So this is what we call as the light angled triangle. You know, we can have it in different orientations. Let's say we can have it as, you know, should be about, let's say we can have it as this. You know, we can have it like this. This is normal, you know, a light angled triangle. Much as we have one of its internal angles is 90 degrees. Wherever you see this kind of a symbol, that symbol represents 90 degrees. And we also have what we call as the obtuse triangle. So obtuse triangle. So what is the obtuse triangle? So it is the triangle in which one of its internal angles is above 90 degrees. That is what we call as the obtuse triangle. It is the triangle in which one of its internal angles is above 90 degrees. That is what we call as an obtuse triangle, and we can have it as this. You know, we can have it as this. So this is what we call as an obtuse triangle. We can have it as this. That is what we call as an obtuse triangle. So try to come up with the angles that satisfies the obtuse triangle. Then you should have to come up with the structure of that particular triangle. So that's how you should have to understand a bit about actually the triangle. So next video will be on how we can draw the triangle. This information will be very important. You should have to keep in mind. So thank you.